everybody, go ahead and share this out to your friends. This is Ann Vandersteel, Steel Truth, live in Washington, D.C. Over here near Union Station. You can see Union Station right here. We have, I think I'm standing in front of some of the National Guard. There's a couple of guys over here. If I can find them, they're right behind me. You can see those guys. They are everywhere. In fact, D.C. is full of military, full of Secret Service coming in from all over the country. The National Guard is everywhere now. They've erected this fencing that you see. They've erected it all over D.C. And it seems that every day we wake up and we take a little gander outside. The perimeter expands. It gets bigger and bigger and bigger. They keep expanding the perimeter for protection here in Washington, D.C. Hi. Hey, Melissa. Hey, Mel. Heather. Good to see you guys. Kimberly, you guys, I appreciate you jumping on. We'll be live tonight on Steel Truth, again on steeltruth.com, as well as Global Financial Wealth Network, Red State Talk Radio, our YouTube channel. You can find us there.
Okay, hello everyone. John's going to be joining me in 1 second here.
All right, here I am. Good morning, everybody. I'm John O'Loughlin, and welcome to my channel. It's called McDuff Lives, and McDuff lives through you, through George Webb, through everybody that's working to reveal the truth about what's happening to our republic as we speak. And so glad to have George back here for another edition of our Saturday morning show. George Webb, I think I'm going to turn it over to you. I know you got some new content for us.
Yeah, just more on the Antifa story. You saw the opener there with Ann Vandersteel up in D.C. yesterday. We had another roving correspondent, an unnamed one up there in D.C. that confirmed everything Ann just said, which is this perimeter, this footprint of fences is growing every day. They keep moving it out. I don't know if they still have the same 8-foot fence and they're just moving it at night, or if they have a series of 8-foot fences, but you can see it's all the way to Union Station now. And there is a school of thought here that the whole Capitol quad, the whole mile square that the Capitol Police are responsible for, may become a green zone, may become a fenced in area. You have to present ID, present vaccine papers, etc. if you're going to go in to that zone. So this is kind of reminiscent of Iraq. And remember, all these David Petraeus type wars are all about practicing low intensity warfare against the civilian population, not against another military, but against a civilian population. Surveillance, Internet of Things inside smart cities, walled encampments like the Green Zone, all these ideas are now playing out in our nation's capital.
Yeah, they are. I'm a native of Washington, D.C., and I'm appalled. Well, George, this to me it could be, I don't know, those of us that have just a little glimmer of hope that Trump has still got some plans or something up his sleeve might think, well, maybe this is a fence that'll hold him in instead of a fence that'll hold us out.
Well, that's a good twist. I like that. They're going to just start the trials inside. Trump has tricked them all into putting fences around themselves. Oh, that's good. I like that. Well, speaking of tricks, guess what? We're finding more and more Antifa inside the Capitol doing the goings on in that famous January 6th Capitol op, or Cap op, as some people are starting to call it. The key guy we talked about yesterday, John Earl, and his last name is going to be a name that everybody's familiar with, Sullivan. John Earl Sullivan is the son of an Air Force colonel, as John mentioned yesterday, 4 different brothers that are all speed skaters in Colorado, but he was arrested in Utah. I don't know why they would arrest him in Utah if he went back to Colorado. But he was filmed with he and his girlfriend in all these different places, directing the action for the break-ins and directing all the actions. And they went on, he and his girlfriend went on to CNN with Anderson Cooper. Well, guess what? It turns out his brother is now you say it's not all in the family. You don't do psyops all in the family. His brother is a proud boy. His brother is a proud boy. You think that's how he got the credentials to get in to this group and infiltrate this group? I think it might be. So this, psyops run in the family. We also find him, of all the places you could be in the Capitol, he's standing right next to the girl who shot Ashley Babbitt. Just of all the random people that could be just right next to Ashley Babbitt, the suicide rabbit, it just happens to be this psyop colonel's son with his psyop brother and his psyop dad. And oh, by the way, if that wasn't enough, his dad was convicted in a group conspiracy of giving secrets to who? China. Yeah, that's right. Aircraft, avionics secrets, and triggers. Wouldn't it be great?
Which brother is it?
The father of this guy.
Oh, the one that was a colonel? Colonel. Yesterday I saw he was a general, actually. I don't know.
Oh, a general now. Okay, great. That's even better. I have more secrets.
He was convicted?
He was involved in a conspiracy of giving, the two I saw was aviation, kind of like the China aviation deal. His other brother's named Daryl. That's funny.
Hey, thanks, mobster.
Maybe it is really Daryl. And Daryl had the best footage. Daryl was there too. That's going to be good. I guess that would make sense. The proud boy brings his proud boy brother, who's actually Antifa, and he's also one of these, psyop kids. So what's amazing is, if the story's correct, nuclear triggers also, John. Gosh, wouldn't it be great if you dealt a few nuclear triggers and a few supersonic, cloaking devices to Taiwan, in addition to running all your psyops? That's a fun family. Let me tell you.
I'm fascinated still by the purported difference between Taiwan and People's Republic of China. After the Hong Kong transfer of sovereignty to China, we still have this ongoing, war of words between the Taiwan government and the PRC government. And I'm starting to suspect, George, that this might be another case of hair pulling.
Yeah.
And that really what's going on is that Taiwan has has always been a kind of a green zone where the deals go down. And I was reviewing the Chinagate story a couple of days ago, and I don't know how fresh that is in your mind, but these guys that were the middle people were actually from Taiwan. So that you have this indication there that the Taiwanese government is working with the PRC in doing these Clinton deals where our military technology and our supercomputer technology is sold through a middleman, of course, to the PRC. And these things like that have raised the economy of the PRC incredibly. And now with the cooperation of the international banks, that renminbi that was worthless, 20 years ago is now, just as good as $1 as far as spending power.
Wow. I hadn't thought about the hair pulling between China and the PRC, but it kind of reminds you of the old Cold War dichotomy, which was, hey, they got the latest missile over there. You need the latest missile now. Oh, they got the latest radar. You need the latest radar. Oh, they got this latest stealth. Yeah, you need the latest stealth. And it's just what a good Nazi should do. Sell to both sides, sell frequently, sell often, and always go for top dollar with maximum amount of fear, maximum amount of psyop. And John, I think you hit it on the head here, that if you dealt secrets to the Taiwan, probably a good chance about 6 months later you were doing the same thing to China. You're not playing for any country. You're playing for a bunch of elites like Warren Buffett and some Roths and some Rocks, and not for your own country.
Yes, and some researchers are putting Biden as a kind of a godfather on the Knights of Malta side of things. Okay. His secret ties to the CIA and the Catholic Church's secret society types have not been exposed very much, but some of the things that I've read by credible writers lead me that there's more to that story too. I don't think Biden is as dumb a bumbling fool as we are told he is, and similar to the fact that most liberals are under the false impression that Trump is a senile bumbling fool. So I don't know the answer, but I do think that Biden has a story that goes a long way back with the CIA and the insiders in the Catholic Church that we've explored with Paul Williams' book, Operation Gladio, and otherwise on the channel here with the books.
Well, isn't it funny that it also traces to the insiders in the Capitol and the Senate Sergeant of Arms, which is right next to the House Sergeant of Arms, which is right next to Chuck Schumer's office and right next to Nancy Pelosi's office. And because you're protected in the Congress with speech and debate, you can do all the trading you want as long as you have an encrypted server so other intelligence agencies don't intercept what you're saying. And as long as you give encrypted devices to your agents out there running game for you, right? And we saw that in spades with Hunter Biden, with his BlackBerry. We saw it with James Biden when Bob Ulinsky talked about the Biden BlackBerries. And we saw it with Joe Biden. And of course, one of those got dropped in my lap in May of 2017. So I had the privilege of seeing a little slice of this as well. It's not all about the BlackBerries, but it's certainly nice to see when they go into the Senate chambers. As a matter of fact, I'm looking at somebody who worked for the Senate Sergeant of Arms just walking by our window right now with his dog. It's nice to know, he didn't give me any information. It's nice to know that when the Antifa went in, they took us right to the Sergeant of Arms office to tell us exactly what they were going in there for. Thank you very much, Mr. Sullivan. Thanks to your brother, the Proud Boy, and thanks for your dad for giving all those secrets to Taiwan.
You know, I hadn't heard of the Proud Boys, George, until we started attending the Roger Stone trials and the hearings over there. And then all of a sudden there was this thing called Proud Boys. And your identification of the brother of the Antifa activist, Sullivan, as being a Proud Boy makes so much sense, because anything that associated with violence on either side is probably an operation. It's not the MAGA people. This is the big thing that I think we need to publish over and over again, is our witness statements, our videos, our observations, everyone else that's been there. You know, as I said the other day, if you were there, sit down and write out an affidavit, go to a notary public and have it notarized so that you can prove that this was your testimony contemporaneous with the event. And just hang on to it, because there may come a time that your testimony is going to save the country.
Yeah, I did about 8 of those, and I was getting less and less views on every one. It was like, okay, you made your point, no more views for those. And they're only about a minute and a half long of people just saying it was a festive atmosphere. It was like Woodstock. We were exchanging, and we've got the siren going here. Maybe the Senate, I shouldn't have said that about the Sergeant of Arms. But that's two sirens is something in the water. So if we get 3 sirens, we know a boat is down. I hope my boat isn't sunk over there. But we have, that's 3. That is a boat. Okay. Sorry, folks. When you're a boat owner on this island and you hear 3 sirens, you always wonder if your boat is still floating. I guess maybe that drone from Dahlgren has hit finally. But here they are getting let in. Who opens the door like that for a whole bunch of invaders and then does this Pratt walk up the stairs like he's leading people? And then he stops and he gives them a little Lawrence Welk conductor motion with his baton. And then he leads them to the next place they need to be. This is right up the steps to the Sergeant of Arms office here, leading them directly to the server. Now, why would he be leading them to a server? I've been here, by the way. I've had my photo taken here, so I have proof of that. Now, let's let the rest of the group catch up. We're going to push you back. Now you're going to go this way. Now come back this way. Come back this way. Here they come. We're going to lead you right to the door of the sergeant of arms. Here we go. Right inside. Oh, this is where your photo op is going to be. This is the portrait gallery up there. Okay, you're there now. Okay, let's make sure everybody walks around pleasantly and doesn't challenge anyone so they get their photo op. This is a psyop from beginning to end. Watch this, where he just lets these guys come through the door. Would you open the door if you knew that there was people on the other side that were going to spill in and destroy everything? Would you really do that?
I thought it was an elevator door. You know, the kind that opens from the inside.
Well, I'm just saying, would you only have one officer there with a stick? I just don't know. I just think it's a psyop. And the way that the camera is choreographed, wouldn't the officer there be helping this guy, one guy against the whole crowd? And why is it one person chasing one person and the rest of the crowd is, following behind? It's almost like they're waiting for instructions.
When I saw this, I only saw the first minute of this clip. I have not seen the second part of it yet. And that's why I wasn't really on board with you. And I'm thinking of this cop as like the cop from, what's that Bruce Willis movie about the disaster?
Beverly Hills Cop.
And he keeps saying, he's a badge, hello, hey, partner. He seemed like the good guy that was trying to keep the bad guys away, although he was isolated and by himself, and all he had was this little baton. Well, actually, those batons can hurt if you hit somebody with them, but he wasn't really defending his station. I am now come over to your side on this, George, that I do believe you're right. Because when you see them go into that portrait gallery and there's all of these cops just kind of standing around, then you know that he did not call for backup.
Right.
And if he had been facing a violent mob of 6 or 7 guys that are just piling out of the elevator at him, he would have hauled ass up those stairs and he would have got his back up there and they would have whooped ass. Well, obviously they didn't do that. And why don't they defend the Capitol if they're the Capitol Police? That's the mystery of the hour.
Yeah, and if you remember, the FBI said the intelligence reports of 22 different extremist groups that were coming into, make sure, Mr. Sullivan, make sure they get their checks, the 22 different extremist groups with their Bitcoin, right? And that these extremist groups are coming in with zip ties. Nancy Pelosi had word that they were going to be zip tying all the staff and kidnapping the staff and looking to murder the staff.
Don't worry, though, George. She's conducting an investigation to see what went wrong.
Oh, is she? Okay.
Oh, yeah, she'll tell you.
Yeah. So
somebody's head's going to roll.
The 8-foot fences with the Sergeant of Arms is already retired, of course, after the server has been destroyed. And isn't it funny how the son of the ex-Sergeant of Arms is the one that committed suicide? And isn't it funny how the BlackBerry dropped in my lap was also from the Sergeant of Arms? I think if we would have, I don't want to go back in time, but I think there's an obvious multiplicity here of what's happening in the metadata. They're going after that server. Now, I say it's because they've sent terabytes to Pakistan with that server. I say there's 5 weapons programs, dark weapons programs that are part of that. If you read my book, Corona 911, you'll see all the evidence for that. But we know they were sending terabytes to Pakistan. We know that our DARPA had a program run through the Congress with the DARPA in Pakistan, Imran Awan's Pakistani, remember, for Desto. Desto is their DARPA, right? So wouldn't it make sense if there was a problem? Nancy would say, Imran, get in here, no staff. Of course they didn't want any staff because it's the dark weapons program. That's going to be the answer to the test, but we're not quite there yet.
By the way, the metadata, George, and that's a word I've learned from you, the metadata from a number of times that Neighborhood News Hour got bumped off of their channel, and of course they're back, but this is like the 3rd time, indicates that maybe the mention of the name of that person that used to run the computer operations for the House of Representatives and is in fact a native of a certain Asian country that used to be part of India, the mention of that person's name may actually be the AI trigger that gets people bumped. So I just want to point that out.
I'll avoid that name.
Yeah.
I just think it's odd that if somebody spends 9 months a year in that country that cannot be named, right, it would indicate that he's doing something over there that he's not doing over here. And the factory, that country's name, Ordnance Factory, was over there. The medical lab that he bought with a member of Congress named Rahm Emanuel was over there, and his father. Encrypted communications tracked over there. The terabytes went over there. So is this going to be part of Nancy Pelosi's investigation? Let's hope so. If you're going to investigate Nancy, let's investigate which server was taken and the IP addresses, like we've mapped to the contested area where these bioweapons are being tested, the contested area between India and that other country that used to be a part of India, and in the Kashmir. Why does all the terabytes go to the Kashmir where the bioweapons testing was occurring? I've got 5 different studies. It's independently verified. And I think we just have to look at this as a way of covering up yet again what you did wrong and blaming it on the other guy.
The opium dome, George. That's what we're really fighting. They've got people on both of the I say sides. I shouldn't say sides, but in both political parties. The forces behind it are the incredible amount of money that is made in the trafficking, and to try to assail that, to try to stop that. We're fighting a very, very difficult battle because of the state sponsorship that comes all the way back from the British and Dutch East India companies that continues to this day through the royals, and the sponsorship of this illegal trade is so pernicious that I'm at the point where I would say I think we ought to just make the growing of poppies legal, that people would have a poppy garden, and if the old people want to use some opium to ease their arthritis, I don't have any problem with that. The problem I have is making it the subject of illegal activity, which then becomes the blackmail tool that leads people into being blackmailed. And it's so obvious to me, after studying it for 4 or 5 years now, at least, maybe even 10 years, that it is that illegal trade in opium and opium products that is driving all of this conflict that is tearing our country apart. We cannot fight that from just a little corner of, Mystery Island. It has to be a national effort. And that's what they keep us divided so that we don't face this problem together. But I think you got to take the profit out of it. Once the profit's gone, then, I think people will be reasonable about it and not use it, recreationally all day long, night long, especially if you know that when you do take it from the organized crime, you're taking a piece away from your children's legacy and the freedoms that we hope to enjoy in the future.
Well, I think the opium dome is a perfect description, actually, because
Toto heard you.
He heard the opium dome.
Yeah.
Because the CIA, the playbook is the same playbook over and over with these ex-British protectorates or states, parts of the British Empire that were broken off. Every time USAID goes in, says we'll give you the rice, you grow this cash crop, opium, 15, 20 times the value. But you need guns, and you're going to buy the guns from us. And so that's a story over and over. John, I got a special surprise for you.
Oh,
that we're going to have the Addy ads join you now in the last third of the show. Was that planned?
That was planned, and as a matter of fact, he's sitting right here in the wings here. And while we wait for the construction of our official green room, we have a chair off to the side for Addy ads to come and join us. And I'm so glad Addy's been here working behind the scenes now for 2 weeks, every time I want to see him, I go and look for him with his laptop open, tapping away, producing and sharing. And when he's here, in other words, I don't get a whole lot of time with him. And then when he's not here, he's busy out on being one of the most active on the street reporters that you could imagine. So I really am looking forward to getting a little bit of time with Addie one-on-one. So good morning, Addie.
Good morning, John. Thanks for having me on the McDuff Lives channel. And I do want to give a big shout out to Andy DeValla for really sprucing up the channel there a bit. And I think improving, I'll just hold this.
You can twist it down if you want.
Let's do that. Okay. And improving the marketing, I think Andy's really kind of beefed up John's branding. And I really love the logo too. And really just being kind of a technical linchpin in the background. And it's great to see John's growth and being kind of recaptured. He was over, I think, 11,000 subscribers. And now I think you're up over 5,000 again, John. So that's fantastic. And I believe actually more people are watching us right now than are subscribed to me, unfortunately, because my channel also got nuked as it happened. But as John was saying, I'm going to be having like a longer form interview with John later this afternoon, and I'm going to be asking John about his career and kind of his beginnings, both in his past careers and this career as well. So I'm looking forward to that. And I just loved hearing you and George go back and forth on the what happened on the 6th with the rally, or the, depending on who you ask, you're going to hear different verbiage for it. You know, it's being called a white nationalist insurrection, which, again, we just have to go back to listening to the people who were there, John, and I think you agree with that, and listening to the not only the eyewitnesses, but making sure that we aren't falling victim to propaganda campaigns. Although it does seem to be working, because they are lionizing a lot of the police officers, and who I'm referring to is people on the left, which is quite, I mean, it's one of the most ironic things that we can think of in this current political situation, what with all the criticism that was directed towards law enforcement from people on the left and the right, but mostly the left. They've kind of just flipped completely, John. So it's frustrating. It's, you know, it's at a point too, you guys were talking about Trump before as well, and how many people are losing kind of hope in something that he may or may not be doing. It's not surprising, I think, to some people that I've been talking to, that this was going to happen. And that being said, as for myself, I'm kind of in a wait and see mode, where I'm hopeful, but I'm not really expecting Trump to make any big moves. But Andy's got a video pulled up there of just referencing back to what happened on the 6th. This police officer, quote unquote, who has a neck tattoo or face tattoo. And as far as I know, police officers aren't allowed to have tattoos like that. So just a red flag, and really adds credence to what George was saying with the what we saw on the, I've been calling it the south side, but it's actually the west side, or the lower side, the mall side of the Capitol, where we saw the group of men kind of almost marching rank and file, going from left to right if you're facing the Capitol building. So yeah, it's great to be on your show again, John. Thank you.
Well, I'm interested in this video, and I'd like to hear the audio if that's possible, because this man is identified as a Metropolitan Police officer and not a Capitol Hill, so that could be different.
Stripping me and my gear. These are rioters, pulling my badge off my chest.
Give me 1 second, actually. I don't think I'm sharing the audio with the audience.
Okay. Anyway, and I am also interested in that tattoo. It looks like a spider's nest, spider's web with some playing cards in it. Looks like maybe some aces down there.
Trying to fight as best I could. I remember, like, guys were stripping me and my gear. These are rioters, pulling my badge off my chest. They ripped my radio off my vest. Started pulling like ammunition magazines from their holder on my belt. And then some guys started getting a hold of my gun, and they were screaming out, kill him with his own gun. At that point, you know, it was just like self-preservation. You know, how do I survive this situation? And I thought about, you know, using deadly force. I thought about shooting people. And then I just came to the conclusion that, you know, if I was to do that, you know, I might get a few, but I'm not going to take everybody, and they'll probably take my gun away from me. And that would definitely give them the justification that they were looking for to kill me if they already didn't have made that up in their minds. So the other option I thought of was, you know, try to appeal to somebody's humanity. And I just remember yelling out that I have kids, and it seemed to work. Some people in the crowd started to encircle me and try to offer me some level of protection. And they gave, you know, that provided me with like enough time, or other officers, specifically my partner, Jimmy Albright, enough time to get to me and get me the hell out of there and back into the west front of the Capitol. A lot of people have asked me, you know, my thoughts on the individuals in the crowd that, you know, that helped me or try to offer some assistance. And I think kind of the conclusion I've come to is like, you know, thank you, but you for being there.
Wow.
All right. Thank you, but fuck you for being there.
That's a police officer, supposedly.
Well, yeah, he says he spoke to his partner, Jimmy Albright, so that we can check that out. And certainly interesting to me that he was put in that position. People shouldn't have been where he was, according to him. But on the other hand, the Capitol Police, I've seen videos where they were urging people to come in. I don't know if you saw the one where there's apparently a female police officer who comes out and just with her arms, she draws people forward, come forward, come forward. And that was through the bicycle barriers. So I am interested in all perspectives of what happened. And while I'm not really an on-the-street reporter myself, I do encourage people to talk to the cops. Every cop I know is a friendly, good person. And I suspect that this cop that almost got killed there, you know, yeah, I'd be unhappy too. But I don't blame the crowd for being there. I blame the situation on the authorities who set it up and let it happen.
Yeah, it's quite out of, I think, character to see a police officer kind of condemning somebody for expressing their First Amendment. Usually they don't just say anything one way or another on it, let alone to be kind of complaining about your job, which you voluntarily signed up for. So I think there's just a couple red flags in there, not just the tattoo. Just referencing that particular video. I also shared a video that's kind of been making the rounds as of this morning, which I believe was from Friday morning, of a construction worker in DC, just kind of outlining short 90 seconds about the expansion of the perimeter and how they're beefing that up. It's really provided several factors or several reasons for doing the DC rally, in addition to making Trump supporters look bad, but also to ensure the security of this power transition. And there's that construction worker there. He just kind of shows the increasing outlines of the National Guard and really the military checkpoints that are now set up.
What's up, guys?
And another thing too, it seems like there's a gray area depending on who you ask of who's actually in charge. But it seems that the military would have complete jurisdiction, because Ann Vandersteel was saying that depending on who she asked, I think it was one was a National Guardsman, the other one was DC Police, and she was asking who was in charge, and they didn't really know or couldn't answer the question. So it seems that the military has kind of taken over DC. And George and I were speaking earlier too about how he thinks this is kind of the plan for every city, is making these smart city strongholds where everything can be surveilled down to the tiniest millimeter.
Yeah, Rahm Emanuel's dream, right? It's the Chicago model coming to DC, and it's I mean, putting up those barriers with the what are they, 10 feet tall now, or even taller than that? They are 8 feet tall. Okay. Um, Around all of our national buildings, I don't understand it. And maybe they're trying to create the impression that the MAGA crowd is going to come back and, you know, be all peaceful again. So they want to set up some type of an impression that people are, you know, having to hide behind walls.
Yeah.
In the people's house.
Yeah.
They have to hide behind walls now because they know.
Another thing it does,
this is
John,
not a legitimate.
and this is you're alluding to it, is it makes it look like the demand for being at a Joe Biden inauguration is such that this security is required, right? Which is just another reason that they did this, because I think in reality, nobody was expecting anyone really to show up to a Joe Biden inauguration.
Right.
But with this, they don't need to explain why nobody's showing up. Now it's the crazy Trump supporters who are making things dangerous. And that, in combined with, we're selling it as it's going to be so popular that security is needed as well, that they don't have to, provide a bunch of fake people to show up to a Joe Biden inauguration. So just more hand in glove stuff that's been going on. But it's unfortunate because it's something I struggle with internally, John, is figuring out what I'm actually in control of and what I should focus my energy on and direct my energy towards. And I have been listening to you and George shows over the past few days, but I've been trying to get my momentum back with my channel and every other outlet I have on the internet as well. Rumble, I'm up to like 1,700 subscribers, over 2,000 on brand YouTube. BitChute, not quite as much. And I've also been helping out John with his BitChute as well. So if people want to go and check out McDuff Uncensored on BitChute and give it a subscription too, that would be fantastic. But just trying to focus my energy in the best way that I see fit is what I've been doing over the last week or two, or really since the rally. So it's still something we're unpacking, all those events that happened on the 6th.
All of this multiple platform broadcasting is a little bit new and confusing to me, Addie. And I know Andy has added a couple of channels to my broadcast, but I still think of it as a YouTube show at this point. So that's the principal channel I have. BitChute is the backup. And so we're loading as much as we can to BitChute because we believe that's the most stable and likely to remain option that we've thought of. Ask half a dozen people, and that's what we came up with. And that also takes a lot of time. So Addie's been spending many hours just going through my own personal collection of the videos and organizing them and putting them up one at a time. And with over 900 videos, it's a big job. Now, let's get back to your channel, because you obviously are somebody that's more sophisticated about multi-streaming than I am. Tell me what your base is, where if people want to go to your go-to place right now, and then other places where you're doing what Andy's doing for me, and that is simulcasting. We want people to find you, subscribe to you, and follow you. So tell them the easiest way to get that done.
Awesome. Thank you, John. My Twitter is one outlet that I put out a lot of my posts, and that has my link tree, which shows all my links in one link. You can see my YouTube, backup YouTube, Rumble, brand YouTube, BitChute, Weeme. There's this one called Inked Social that Kirsten W is associated with. There's one called Minds. And then, of course, there's Gab and Parler. Although Parler and Gab have had, they've kind of been under attack over the past week or so. But I'm kind of pivoting, John, I think, to making Rumble a focus for me, just because it seems to be not only stable like BitChute, but also monetizable. and it actually uploads. I find their servers to upload faster than BitChute.
Mhm.
The reason I'm still on YouTube is because that's where most of the eyeballs are still.
Me too. Yeah.
And it's on Roku, it's on the TV apps. People can just go right on the YouTube. And if you're not on YouTube, it's almost like you don't exist for 80% of internet viewers, particularly in I think the self-publishing sphere. So I still got my YouTube, and I am trying to get it back up to a good subscriber count. But yeah, Rumble, brand new tube as well, which brand new tube is nice because they promo my channel a lot, but they're not really reliable with their servers. So it's kind of something I appreciate, but it's not a focus for me until they can kind of improve their technical game. So those are the main channels. Hopefully, I know people have lost their Twitters too. I hope that doesn't happen to me like George did, although that was kind of not for censorship. That was more of a targeted and sophisticated hack job. But I know Ann Vandersteel and Kirsten W both lost their Twitters over the last, I think, week or so, among many other people. So yeah, it's just trying to dodge and jab a little bit with the deep state censors. So yeah, that's what I've been up to.
Dodging and jabbing, and also being persistent. That's what we do. And I'll mention my Facebook. One of the channels that Andy added to me was a feed on my Facebook. Well, the same day that he added that feed, my Facebook got censored. They went back and found an old one from March of mine that they called hate speech, but all I had said was something very satirical and ironic. I said, we all know that all men are imbeciles, and they called that hate speech. So now I'm a man hater, guys. And for that, I'm punished on Facebook but the other thing was that I criticized a certain doctor, a Chinese doctor, actually. His name is Dr. Fao Chi. And for some reason, that triggered them too. They didn't like that. So don't criticize any Chinese doctors if you want to keep your Facebook page.
Dr. Chi, yeah, we're all quite familiar with the Dr. Fao Chi. Yeah. It's funny they got you on that. It's I don't know. It's almost like the pot calling the kettle black in a way.
Well, I think they were, they saw me starting to broadcast on Facebook, so they went and dug up a couple of things to hit me with. Just, it's a brushback. They gave me 24 hours of suspension, so now I can't impart my wisdom to my Facebook friends today, and I'm like really pounding the table. I'm just Mark Zuckerberg. No, I'm not. I love you, Mark. I love Mark Zuckerberg. John O'Loughlin loves men and Mark Zuckerberg. No, wait a minute. That was offensive, wasn't it? I'm sorry. Mark, whatever you are, I love you. I don't care. It's not my business.
Mark Zuckerberg.
I hope that
I think we should end on that note.
clears it up. No.
Well, I'm just going to say,
I think we need George Webb to come back and put a cap on this show, and we'll wrap it up and get
George
back to our.
Here. I just wanted to say, I uploaded a video with Van Vandersteel's name, and it got taken down immediately for deceitful practices. So, likewise with John, I'm trying to dodge the censors on these networks here. But here is the peerless George Webb.
Thanks, Addie, for being with us, and I look forward to talking to you a little bit more later in the day on your channel.
Wow, John, this is getting to be quite a guest show. We do need the green room.
Yeah, well, we're under construction.
I'm muting you while you put it back on the stand.
Oh, okay. I was just saying that this is first class. We need the green room and some Johnny Carson music and maybe an Ed McMahon. I guess I could do that.
Doc Severinsen.
Oh yeah, a little music. Yeah. John, I think this smart cities thing that Addie referred to is really the future, and Washington D.C. is going to be. I don't know if people remember this story, but I came down the morning after the fake cops. Kamala Harris had fake cops in Los Angeles. They were these Masonic cops, same sort of fake cops, unshaven, slovenly uniforms and so forth that were being used. Anyway, this guy had almost drawn his gun on task force because she asked to see his badge. He didn't have a badge. He didn't have any identifications and a card, and he was almost going to shoot her. So that was on video on this hotel that we were at in Capitol Heights, and at 3 o'clock in the morning, right? I went downstairs at 5:30 and I saw the Commodore, the guy who had all the Navy Reserve, and he was not begging, but saying he would like the surveillance tape from the night before. And I didn't associate the two things until task force told me the next day that she'd almost been shot. But anyway, he told me that the one, somebody said DC is a sovereign territory. The one place in the United States where you can bring reservists from all 50 states is the Navy. The Navy can bring reservists from all 50 states to DC. Navy intelligence. You remember Oswald being the most famous Navy intelligence officer. All the other states, the National Guard rolls up into the militias, the state militias, under the auspices of the governor. This is what he told me. He reported directly. He had all the stripes. He reported directly to the head of the Chief of Naval Operations. So this is a high position. And so that's why I think when we follow these threads, who ran this operation and where did they come from? And I saw people in camos saying Navy, dressed up as Navy. And you could bring all these people here. Fourth Psych Ops could be doing the communications of organizing these guys. That Brian Fallon or whatever, that cop that was beaten up in the tunnel going in the mall side of the Capitol, he also said it was 50 or 60 guys that he was fighting.
That was the guy that was on the video that Addie showed us.
And I had said 50 were the orange hats. And see, what the beautiful thing about the tunnel and this kind of creation myth or any of these myths that happen in closed doors is you can say anything happened if it's not happening out in the public space. So you could have opted that and created this, sort of a Custer's Last Stand type stories of individual heroism to leak out to the press. And we are really fighting a massive psyop here, a massive psyop, just because I was there, and I saw what happened. A lot of different people are now, I haven't seen this one yet. Can you flip the volume up?
Service over there.
This is it. This is right there at the gate. Yep. Oh, go back. Yeah, we both filmed that simultaneously, and the guy was yelling Jesus, and they were jazzing people up the day before, saying this is righteousness, and we need to storm, And this cop came by, just one guy on a motorcycle. There you see Georgia Peach.
Wow, this is...
And she goes over. Georgia Peach went over to the guy on
the barrier's been knocked down.
On these people that were trying to encourage.
People are storming the Capitol. They're storming the Capitol right now.
They were like saying, "Go forward!" And these inciters that were coming out and psychologically opping the crowd, and the crowd wasn't going. The crowd was very slowly, kind of like walking in. And then you had all these other people that were just screaming, trying to incite people. And this is right out of the CIA Psychological Operations Manual. We cut a page out of it. You see how this is not a mob, how they're just kind of like gingerly walking in. And then you got people behind yelling and screaming, "Forward, go forward." Mm-hmm. And and a lot of people not even going in. And so I just think this is, Addie, this is great footage. I've never seen it before. This is fantastic. I'm glad you got this and you went in. But you stopped right at the edge there, so you're not culpable in any way, shape, or form, which is a smart move, brother. You're learning. I'm so glad you didn't go in. But you can see how slow this is, John. It's not an attack. It's not a mob.
No, it's a bunch of people that have always, wanted to see the Capitol, and here they are, and they got invited in and said, well, okay, we'll go in.
And you could see people just going up. It was a milling crowd. Very good description. If you go up just to the stairs, just for a better view, you can see how slow people are going just to go up to get a better view to see what's happening. It's sort of like a fight. And I remember somebody yelling, "Fight, fight, fight," when there was this, the initial rush. But you can see this is great video ads. Now there's Addie stepping onto the lawn as a journalist, as a citizen journalist.
So I'm just going.
Well, this,
You should have narrated this. I'm getting all the credit for Addie's great camera work. I love this. I love getting credit for Addie's stuff.
is that female cop that was urging people? I want to see. No.
Oh, it does look like her.
I
She
can't.
was on the other side.
Well,
That one right there. She was on the other side with the gates urging people in.
that looks like a Metropolitan badge. I
It sure
can't tell
does.
though from here. I can't see for sure that the badges have not been consistent over the years.
That's true. And there were different people.
These happy people talking on the phone. This is not a riot. Get out of town.
You could see there was some chanting, a little bit of chanting, but there's not burn it down, burn this shit down, and all this stuff that the other guy was saying. There's Georgia Peach there.
What occurs to me, George, is nobody is saying stop the steal.
Nobody.
Because I think that was what they hoped. The people with the orange hats wanted us to be, the MAGA people, to be aggressive, to say, stop the steal. And we're going up to the Capitol Hill to make it stop. That, I think, was a story they wanted to tell. But, of course, I don't watch the mainstream media like you media hounds do. So I don't really know how they packaged it.
This is incredible footage. And I think maybe Addie was supposed to be here and describing his own footage. But I'll act like I shot it. Now, you see these people coming out screaming. They're coming back and
you
screaming.
see this smoke there from whatever, a tear gas or whatever.
And they're inciting the crowd, and they're running back. And see, he's saying Antifa right there, real time, just like I was. I don't know if it was Antifa, because the crowd, the mood of the crowd had completely changed from this, what the heck is going on with these people? And they had stopped at this third gate. There was a slight second gate here, but these are like little 3-foot bicycle barricades. And then they got stopped at that third place. Okay. And then they went around the other side. There was another incursion on the other side. But see, the Trump people haven't even got there yet. This is about 1 o'clock. The Trump people there's one orange hat that now has arrived, but they're just coming down from the mall. It's a long walk. And we interviewed a lot of people who hadn't been there yet. So when they arrived, the gates were on the ground. They didn't know what had happened. This is the key disconnect in the story. This is the key disconnect of the people at the Trump rally, and somehow Trump inspired this, but in actual fact, it was the Antifa orange hats.
We're falling back right now.
See, hear these people? See the F-bombs going and so forth? The people trying to incite them?
He's up there.
And of course, Addie's leaving. You can see Georgia Peach there. Addie being the strong protector and brave knight, protecting the damsel in distress. So good to see that in young men, rather than just, saying, well, you're on your own, baby. Everyone's saying that is Antifa.
Kimberly K. I wonder if that is the Kimberly K. Kimberly Classic of Baltimore.
Oh, I don't know. Well, this is truly fantastic footage that I've never seen before. And obviously, Addie has secreted it behind my back, as he always does. No, I'm kidding. No, I just think this is awesome. The first time I'm seeing this. I'm glad I came to the show today. Yeah, that's some great footage there, Ads. Really great footage. This is how you make your living as a reporter.
George, we're right in front of that white statue.
Eddie just calling me, and we're linking up. I was in the middle of the orange hats, And then I went back to the grassy knoll, which is in the distance where they formed up. They came right around the OAN building there on Delaware Avenue, and they formed up like they all had been dumped off of a train or a bus.
Whereas everybody else from the actual Trump rally has just walked, what, maybe a mile or so?
That's about a mile.
They're too tired to be energized like those aggressive ones that are the agents provocateurs.
I think that's très something.
Yeah, okay.
Appropriate. I can't even say. That's hard to say. How do you say appropriate?
I don't know
in
why
French?
we say why we don't have our own English word for these guys, because it's a tongue twister for Americans to say agents provocateurs. Maybe is the best way to
I
say
can say
it.
agent provocateur, but I can't say c'est très appropriate. You know, like that's very appropriate. I can't say appropriate. Somebody's going to have to help me with that.
All right. Well, don't depend on me for colloquial French. It's quite a mystery to me too, George.
There you have it.
Okay. Well, because they skip letters all the time. Like they have these words with all these letters, but then half of them, they just leave them out. So what can I say?
Well, here is where there's a little tiny gate, and this is where that same woman cop is ushering people.
Yeah, that looks like the scene where that woman cop is doing that.
She's gone around to the other side. It looks like they've taken the PSYOP guys and brought them around with the same flags and brought them in.
Yeah. Now, there's a couple of cops with the yellow jackets on in the center of the scene that are just walking up there with the crowd. What, when are they say? No, why don't they turn around and say, "Stop, go back. You've crossed the barrier."
Right.
Why don't they say that?
Yeah, and this you could see this actually in retrospect forming up in stages where there is rallying points. You saw the one guy with the Jesus sign.
Yeah.
That's very distinctive as a rally point. And then he's just happens to be there twice. What was the comment, Ads?
Oh, somebody was asking about the Jesus guy.
Yeah.
Oh, that was.
There's always one guy yelling Jesus or yes to Jesus.
Yeah, it was sort of a culling area, and then the same thing happened on the other side about 15 minutes later, and it was sort of a diversion. I had a guy who I interviewed in Annapolis who said the Army always starts with a diversion. You always attack someplace and then attack second place. You don't do three because it's too complicated, but you always start with a diversion. And that was maybe the plan all along, that the real attack was going to come in and get that server in that sergeant of arms house. And I really believe McDuff is the modern Jean Valjean.
Not sure I get that one.
Well, Les Miserables, and he had to lift.
Yeah, he was a big guy. He probably did lift up that carriage to free the person stuck under the wheel. Yeah,
but he stole that loaf of bread to feed his family, and 10 years on the galleys gave him that. They called him the Jack. Remember that?
Yeah. Okay. Well, I'm flattered that people even know who my dad is at this point. I've been hoping that what I suspect is his story really is his story. And with the help of George Webb and Addie and Andy and so many other researchers, Mark Kulak, Bill Taylor, Jumping Mouse, I can't name everyone that has helped me to, as you say, trestle under my own theories about my dad, who we call McDuff.
Yeah, and I'm going to publish a 30-second thing later today of us going through all the McDuff documents that came out of here and the boxes that went over there, and you can see the process and how hard it is to create books and blog pages and so forth. It's a lot of work, but that'll be later this afternoon.
And a shout out to Deborah, who is archiving all of the photographs. And I gave her a stack, I don't know, maybe 60, 70 photos that were actually taken on board the USS Nashville during my father's tour during World War II. And she's going through and labeling them, and we're gonna line them up in chronological order so you can follow the ship as they have the photographs of the islands where they stop, or they'll photograph another ship firing rounds of shells at the island to get ready for an invasion. It's going to be quite an interesting production, all in and of itself. And that's just a small part of the archives that we're going through. We're not even halfway through the boxes yet, George. But with your with your generosity, we've been able to extend the charrette long enough so that we'll complete this task and we'll get it done before this event of January 20th, which I won't really refer to as what they want me to call it.
Well, we love you, Joe Biden. We love all of our Capitol Police and Metro Police. So we never would want anything bad to happen. We want a smooth inauguration. I just want to say that, because otherwise people will say, we were inciting, blah, blah, blah. We're not inciting anybody. We're just looking at something that looks like a psyop from beginning to end.
And I love men. I do.
That's going to be a soundbite.
Oh, yeah. Your detractors will cut that out and repeat it 10 times.
I do. And just tell Facebook, I love men. All right.